Today on Small Town Big Talk, Galesburg, Illinois, we're heading just a little north of Galesburg to one of the most unique and mysterious historic towns in Illinois, Bishop Hill. At first glance, Bishop Hill looks peaceful. Quiet streets, historic brick buildings, tiny shops, Swedish flags, handmade crafts. A calm little tourist town sitting out on the prairie. But underneath that peaceful atmosphere is a story of religious persecution, sacrifice, death, and one man who convinced over 1,000 followers to leave everything behind and travel across the ocean to build what they believed would become a perfect society. This is the story of Bishop Hill, Illinois. To understand Bishop Hill, we actually have to start in Sweden during the early 1800s. Back then, Sweden had a state church, the Lutheran Church of Sweden, and people were expected to follow it exactly. Religious groups that challenged church authority were often viewed as dangerous. One man in particular began attracting attention. His name was Eric Jansen. Jansen was a fiery religious preacher who believed the established church had become corrupt. He claimed that true believers could become spiritually pure and free from sin. Some people thought he was inspiring, others thought he was absolutely insane. But one thing's certain, people followed him. A lot of people followed him. Eventually, Swedish authorities began cracking down on his movement. His followers faced pressure, ridicule, and persecution. And that's when Jansen came up with a radical idea: leave Sweden entirely, start over in America, create a perfect religious colony where his followers could live free from persecution. In 1846, hundreds of Swedish followers sold nearly everything they owned and boarded ships headed for the United States. Imagine this for a minute, if you will. You leave your homeland, you leave family, you leave safety, and you travel across the Atlantic Ocean because one man tells you that God has chosen a place for you on the American prairie. The journey was brutal. Many became sick. Some died before ever reaching Illinois. Others gave up along the way. But eventually, the surviving settlers made their way into western Illinois, and they settled in Henry County on an open prairie land. They named the settlement Bishop Hill. The name actually came from Eric Jansen's home parish in Sweden called Biskopsskola. Forgive me if I don't get that right. Biskopula. I'm not sure. Here's something tourists don't always realize when they visit Bishop Hill today. The early years were incredibly rough. The prairie was mostly undeveloped land. They weren't nice buildings waiting for them. There weren't grocery stores. There weren't roads like we have today. Many settlers first lived in dugouts and primitive shelters. Food was scarce. Disease spread easily. Winters were very harsh. And some historians estimate that large numbers of the original immigrants died during the early years because of illness and exhaustion. But despite all of that, the colony survived. And not only did it survive, it started thriving. One of the most fascinating parts about Bishop Hill is that it operated almost like a commune. The colony shared property collectively. People worked together. Food was distributed collectively. Labor was organized as a community effort. Nobody was supposed to be richer than anyone else. Imagine hundreds of people farming together, cooking together, building together, and worshiping together on the Illinois prairie in the 1840s. The colony became surprisingly successful. They built mills, barns, workshops, housing, hotels, and churches. Eventually, Bishop Hill became one of the most important Swedish settlements in the Midwest. In many ways, Bishop Hill helped open the door for future Swedish immigration into Illinois and other parts of America. Now, this is where the story gets dark. In 1850, only 4 years after the colony was founded, Eric Jansen was murdered, and the murder happened nearby in Cambridge, Illinois. The story behind it sounds almost unbelievable. A man named John Root blamed Jansen for interfering with his marriage and family. Tensions boiled over, and eventually, Root shot and killed Eric Jansen at the courthouse in Cambridge. Just imagine the shock that must have gone through Bishop Hill. Their prophet, their leader, the man they followed across the ocean, was suddenly dead. You'd think the colony would completely collapse after Jansen's death, but surprisingly, it didn't. Instead, 7 trustees took over leadership of the community, and for a while, Bishop Hill actually became even more economically successful. The colony expanded farming operations, businesses grew, construction continued, but eventually, financial problems started appearing. Some leaders made risky investments. Arguments grew inside the colony, and by 1861, the communal system officially dissolved. The dream of a perfect religious utopia had ended. Now, here's the really amazing part. Bishop Hill did not disappear. A lot of historic communities faded away over time, but Bishop Hill survived. And today, when you walk through town, you're literally walking through living history. And I totally felt that today as I went there for the first time ever. It was amazing. It was so beautiful. The many original colonies still stand. Places like the Colony Church, the Colony Hotel, the Boys Dormitory, the historic barns and museums, they're all still there today. And one thing you immediately notice when you visit Bishop Hill is how strong the town still embraces its Swedish heritage. You'll see Swedish flags, Swedish crafts, traditional foods, art galleries, historic shops, and throughout the year, they hold festivals and events celebrating the town's roots. It's honestly one of the most unique small towns in Illinois. There's almost this peaceful feeling walking through Bishop Hill. But when you know the history, you realize every brick and every building has a story behind it. Today's Bishop Hill is a historic village and tourist destination. People come from all over Illinois and beyond to experience the town's history and atmosphere. The state of Illinois helps preserve several buildings as part of the Bishop Hill State Historic Site, and local organizations continue working to preserve the colony's history for future generations. So, the next time you drive through Bishop Hill, remember, you're not just passing through another tiny Illinois town. You're standing in the remains of one of America's most fascinating religious experiments. A place built by immigrants searching for freedom. A place shaped by sacrifice and tragedy. And a place where history still feels alive almost 180 years later. This has been Small Town Big Talk, Galesburg, Illinois. And if you enjoy local history, true crime, forgotten stories, and hidden Illinois history, make sure you subscribe, follow, and share this episode. And maybe next time you visit Bishop Hill, you'll see it a little differently.